Jo Casamento, journalist, mother of four, and I did my first round of tequila last night. So the fact I'm here is pretty exciting.
Hi, I'm Lucy Zelic, journalist, Daily Telegraph columnist, Sky and 2GB contributor, and proud crusty conservative.
Hello, my name is Libby Gorr, social commentator, a podcaster, Red Card for Mummy and other soccer stories, and proud collector of cardboard boxes.
I'm Gary Hardgrave. I was once a member of the Federal Parliament, a minister with John Howard, and now I do a lot of great radio on 4BC in Brisbane, and I'm really nervous.
Hi, I'm Tania Zaetta. You might recognise me from a big show called Who Dares Wins from back in the 90s that went around the world. I am still working hard, and I'm a very proud twin mum to wait for a 7-year-old. I'm an older mum, and I had been known on occasion to wear a famous red swimsuit.
And I'm television and radio presenter Rob McKnight. Welcome to Beauty and the Beast. Jo Casamento, are you feeling okay?
I'm actually feeling really seedy. Honestly, I know I'm a few decades late to the party, but I was doing those lick syncs. Is that what it is? That thing? You know what I'm talking about.
I'll take your word for it. Well, it could be a very interesting episode because this is a place you can come to get your burning questions answered and hopefully have a bit of fun along the way. We have a great panel for you today and some cracking questions. In fact, Libby has our first letter. Libby.
Oh, thank you, Rob. And I'll just put on my middle-aged lady glasses. This one actually made my eyes pop. Let me just go through my letters now. Which one was mine? No, not sex tape. No, not me today. This one. Booties, yes. Oh, how generous-spirited need I be? At my stepdaughter's wedding, I overheard the groom's brother talking about us, that we were walking around like we owned the place and we hadn't even paid for the wedding. Oh, we did contribute about $7,000, but they were both in their 30s, working, living together and pregnant with their second child when they tied the knot. We begged them not to spend a fortune on the wedding and a party and to put it into a deposit for a house because they complain about that too. Well, that's not actually written in the letter, but I can just assume. They ignored us. And they racked up a bill of close to $45,000. My husband and I said we'd chip in, but not the whole lot, and the groom's parents thought the same, and now they bitch about us. Question: when the kids are adults with their own incomes and responsibilities, should the parents still be bound to pay for a lavish wedding they've not set the budget for? We don't have a money tree in our backyard. That's from Anne-Marie in Townsville. And I have to say that I absolutely love this letter because it's beggars the question, if you're half in and half out, were you really in at all? Well, obviously they were because they've already got a couple of kids. But this letter is about a couple being pissed off because their dad hasn't honoured the tradition of paying for the bride's wedding, and yet they have eschewed all the other traditions on their way to the altar. They haven't waited to have sex before marriage. They have got a woman that's working. They've got babies outside marriage. Did I say they weren't virgins on the wedding night? I'm assuming. And compounding that, they're complaining they can't buy a house, so they don't want to spend their own money on a wedding. And why doesn't their dad just pay for the whole lot while walking the bride down the aisle and watching all their young friends drink his booze because they didn't want to ask all the relatives because they're old and boring now? Quite frankly, I hark back for the days when you just gave them 5 camels and rolled yourself a split out the back and were done with it.
I tell you what, Tania, it blows my mind that people just expect everything. If you want a lavish wedding, I saw you shaking your head a lot. Surely, if you want a lavish wedding, pay for it yourself.
Look, $45,000 for a wedding. Did it come with a car? Because that's what I'd be asking for. I would rather. I'm far too practical for that. Parents aren't ATMs, and in my opinion, if you're old enough to make a baby to the couple, then you're old enough to prepare a budget. And perhaps the budget for a wedding, all you're doing is just spending all that money on everybody else's fun night. You're too busy to enjoy it yourselves. I would be practical and take the money if it was given to me and invest it for the future.
Oh, it sounds a bit boring, but Gary, you're a bit of a traditionalist. Do you think the parents should be stumping up the cash?
Well, if the kids play along, I think that they're not going to live up to the usual traditions. You know, father speaks, father takes the daughter down the aisle, all of those sorts of things. You know, they can sod off. I think I'm going to become a ski, spend the kids' inheritance. I think the best thing any of us can do is leave them a debt. I think you don't want to give them a whole big cash first when you die. Leave them a debt. Toughen them up, make them realise nothing comes from nothing, and I think that way you'll serve Australia, our community, our nation, our world far better. Leave them a bloody debt, I say.
Wow, Lucy, you're nodding.
Look, I am nodding because I can see that the pendulum has swung so extremely in this space. I mean, I come from a European background, Croatian heritage, and it's very much ingrained in us that when your children get married, of course, the parents pay for it and they stump up all that cash so that everyone can walk around and act like they own the joint and swig on the booze. But ultimately now what we're seeing is this total shift in entitlement now where everyone thinks that they are entitled to their parents' money, entitled to the fact that they woke up and broke their backs like my father did at 4:30 every morning for 30 plus years in building, and expects that now we just, shove our hands out and are going to get these endless hands. Our parents aren't ATMs. And here's the problem with society is that we now just believe that everything, especially this younger generation, believe that everything's going to be given to them on a platter. Go to work. We didn't do the lavish wedding. We got married because we got married at the magistrate because I am a traditionalist and old school. I'm a housewife 99% of the time, barring the fact I jump on here and have a rant. But I wanted to be able to look after my... So where do you put your emphasis and your priorities in life? Is it a wedding that for one night you're going to have a lot of infighting and long-lasting, fractured relationships over who paid more and whatnot? Or is it the ability to be a bit more pragmatic, invest it into a property and something that's actually going to give you a return on your investment? So, you know what? Give them the debt. I agree with Gary on that point. They don't deserve it.
I think it's a simple solution, and we'll get Joe to bring it home. But surely it is.
Well,
if the parents say we'll put in $7,000, to me that's a nice thing. They put in $7,000. You can't demand any more. And if you want to go beyond the budget that your parents have put in, it's your cost. Isn't this really simple, Joe?
Well, I actually wish I could reverse myself 30 years ago and listen to all your wonderful advice, because I think I spent double that back then.
Because.
And I wish I'd put it this way. I was still paying off the bill before, that lasted longer. The debt lasted longer than the marriage. So I kind of wish I had listened to you all back then. Yes, I should have been far more sensible. But I'm actually about to face this myself. My stepdaughter is getting married. She's just having the engagement party next week. Unfortunately, she's actually really quite a bit of a hippie chick, and she is not, one for doing all the ridiculousness that I did. So thankfully, I didn't raise a child that's spent like I did. As my father said at my own wedding. Money
you certainly couldn't afford that, Joe, if they spent like you.
I think Dad's wedding speech was, money to Joanne is like sand in the desert. There's plenty of it and it runs through her fingers. And I'm still living to that.
What a great speech.
For more Booty and the Beasts content, join us on social media. We're on Instagram and TikTok at Booty and the Beasts AU. Did you know we also have a video version of Booty and the Beast? There's a whole lot more just waiting for you at youtube.com/@Booty and the Beast. You get to see these fine booties and Gary. Now, original beauty. Joe Casamento has our next letter. Joe.
Dear Booties and Beastlies. Ooh, I'm 62 and in excellent nick. My partner is an ex-athlete, now in his 80s, also fit for his age. We've been asked to a Legends of Sport function, and I want to wear this sheer embroidered gown. You can see my bra and undies through it, but the Zelic is all the rage. Zelic. God, I've got lipstick stuck on the brain. Sheer look, it's all the rage. My daughter in her late 30s says I'm mutton dressed up as lamb. She says I'm trying to compete with 20-year-olds, and that as an over 60s mother of 3 and grandmother of 2, I should be covering up everything, especially my undergarments. I think she's a stitched up prig. It's an interesting word. Should I dare to bet or will I make a fool of myself? Barbara from Paradise Point. Well, perhaps. Firstly, bravo at 62, feeling fit, strong, confident. I mean, I'm loving you. Seriously.
Yes.
If I feel that good at that age, I'll be pretty excited. And to step into a sheer gown is something to be proud of. The fact you can do a Margot Robbie on the red carpet, I'm just like impressed and not embarrassed about it. So, go girl. Your daughter may see it as, competing with 20-year-olds, but what I see is this woman who knows herself, knows her strength, knows who she is, and she's not afraid to, show it off with flair. It's about your spirit, and I love that. But,
Oh, there's
darling,
a but.
Barbara, we do have to talk
There's a
sheer.
but.
There is a bit of a sheer. I'm not opposed to sheer and undergarments, but I think it is a major trend, but it's a tricky one. And I'm saying this for women of all ages. It's how you do it, I think, that pulls it off. So, you can be a little chic. You can make sure it's not, full grown and suspenders and bloody hell, I don't know what you're planning on wearing under the embroidery. But, you could do it quite chic, I think. So make sure it's, it is it's sports lunch, is it? So make sure that, you do feel comfortable. That's
Joe,
what I
I'm
would say.
shocked. I tell you. Like, seriously, I thought you'd all be like, you're off to a Legends of Sport function, wear whatever you want. I mean, I can see Lucy. Yes, I see you, Lucy, shaking your head like nobody's business. Give it to us. Why shouldn't this woman be able to embrace her body if she feels comfortable enough?
This is an issue that I feel very passionately about because I can see that we are now very falsely equating nudity or baring one's skin with empowerment and this almost repeated strain of
Funny,
feminism.
Lucy, I'm all for it. Women can bear as much skin as they want. Not a problem for me.
It's taking us down this garden path now where it's setting an example for the younger generation, particularly in this OnlyFans era, which is just repulsive, where they genuinely believe that the only way to present oneself, if you've got it flaunted BS, is in a very overt sexual way that is bearing so much skin and leaving very little to the imagination. Now, you may think that I'm clutching my pearls and a real prude over this, but I'd rather be clutching my dignity than embarrassing myself at a Legends of Sport function alongside my husband, who is also an ex-athlete, right, who's having to front up to the fact that, yes, this is my wife, and doesn't she look amazing, but does she need to be putting it out that way in which other men will be ogling her? And quite frankly, you are emasculating him and making him feel embarrassed with all of these other men.
Or he might like it, Lucy. He might like seeing all these people fawning over his wife.
No self-respecting man wants men drooling over their wives in their presence. It makes them feel uncomfortable.
What?
And if you
Bezos.
are,
What about
and
his-
you
what
are a
is like classic
he's a
example.
cuck.
He loves
He's a
it. He
cuck.
loves
Okay.
it.
Bezos is the cuck.
I cannot believe I'm the biggest feminist here who's saying she can wear what she wants.
Yeah, because you want to curve at him. Come on, Rob.
There are so many competing strands of inconsistency here. I just need to pull them out one by one. Joe, when you talk about what kind of underwear she wears underneath, are you suggesting that she should, because it's a sportsman's function, she should wear a jock strap, or she needs to be careful that she's not actually wearing high-waisted cotton tails? That's number one. Number two, Tania, this is not a new garden path. I was famous in the 90s. Everybody was taking off their gear, including Senator Kate. See, I can't even think of her surname now. Landy or Lundy. They were all taking off. Women taking off their clothes and feeling like it's empowerment has been going on since time immemorial. Once they were told to, then in the 90s, the lipstick feminism, they thought, oh no, I'm going to take control of this myself and I'm going to take off my clothes because it makes me feel empowered. But I always say, what you use as a weapon will eventually be used against you as a sword. So should you be taking off your clothes to try and get ahead, a la 90s Tina Arena, Kate Sobrano, Elle McFeast, whatever, it's going to come back and get you in the end. So and as for like covering up honestly, Lucy, what fucking decade did you grow up in? For God's sake. Honestly, did you miss Madonna? Did you miss Madonna? You know, Madonna.
Born in the 1980s. Yeah, but it's a miss.
They've been doing it forever. They've been doing it forever.
Hey, listen,
I just want to say,
beauty has no age limit, as we know. And first of all, I applaud her for being 62 and being in such great nick, because that does take a bit of dedication. And the fact that she's confident to go out there and wear such a dress, I applaud that too. However, I also agree on the fact that you do need to, with your confidence, have some chicness and some class about you. And I don't think wearing a see-through dress is the right occasion for a sportsman do. That's
Hang
not
on,
the right
are we
time
all
to be wearing
thinking
an
the
outfit
same
like
thing?
that.
I assumed it would be something black where you're only getting, like, if she's wearing black, I don't know. How am I turning into the fashion guy?
Black. It's nude. It's nude.
No,
It's
but
nude
hear me out.
sequins.
She's saying she. She's not saying moon.
Yeah.
So it could be black, mainly black, but it is she, and she's wearing
Yeah,
black
I'm picturing
bra
that
and
too,
underwear
like
under.
what
So
the girls
it's not
are wearing
like,
to the
here are my
falls.
boobs and here's
Yeah.
downstairs. It's just this, what's the word?
Stop trying
Rob,
to justify
she
your
is.
opportunity
She
to
is.
ogle this nearly naked woman.
No,
She
but
is
I'm just
saying,
saying,
"My
I
boobs
don't
and here is my
understand
stuff downstairs."
how
She
the
is.
women on this panel are telling other women how to dress and what is and isn't acceptable.
But
Can I
this
just
is
be honest? When I
this is
saw
another
this one, I thought maybe Lucy will be against it because, you know, Lucy. But I honestly thought this is going to be a very
Little
quick
house on
letter.
the
That was
prairie,
my
Lucy.
honest opinion. I thought we'll get through this one really quickly because surely all the women on this panel are going to agree. I'm dumbfounded by what I'm hearing. Dumbfounded.
Class is eternal,
we're
Rob,
shocked too.
and that's something that we need to remember. There is no one here, I don't think, is suggesting that you can't own your beauty at every age. I'm certainly not, but I think that it also comes with the acknowledgement that class and being chic and actually being demure says a lot about you and your character.
I feel like she needs to go back
Gary,
to the
do you dare enter the lion's den here?
Let a gentleman give his view.
Oh, hang
I
on.
was really
Thank you, Lucy.
optimistic you've forgotten about me, Rob.
Jesus.
I was sitting here thinking, this is dangerous territory. Look, no, Rob, I got to say to you, either too much of a feminist or too much of a perv. I can't quite decide which one you are.
Oh, yes, because I'm desperate to look at a 62-year-old on the red cup. I'm
mate,
sorry.
seriously,
That sounds ageist. Everyone's beautiful.
I don't see age. All I see is a
opportunities.
dignified person. And if somebody has the ability to wear, as they put it, something that's sheer and revealing, then I think they will really rock the frock that actually leaves a lot to imagination. So it's about really the moment after you've left the room. People might look at you and say, isn't that great? Then they'll think your 82-year-old husband's an idiot for having somebody like you who's prepared to go out and do that. And I think you're going to look and you're going to be laughed about
I think
afterwards.
a lot of men love it when their wives are out. That's part of, he's obviously attracted
if
to that.
that's your thing, that's your
Yeah.
thing, but I'm a lot less than Kanye like that. I prefer to see some
I don't think
nobility and
Kanye
some
is the
dignity.
example that we should be following here, but I tell you what,
Well, he's
on
been
Beauty and the
brought
Beast,
up.
if you ever try to guess where our panel is going, you ain't got a clue because this panel is full of surprises. Christmas is supposed to be a time of joy to the world, goodwill to all men. But cooking the Christmas Day meal can be a nightmare. Rebecca seems to be a bit over it.
Oh, buck up, Rebecca, it's that time of year, and if it's coming as a shock to me now, then where have you been for this whole time? Right, let's get on with the letter. Hi, my booties and beasts. I have a problem with my family's food preferences. It's my turn for Christmas, and my nephew has announced he's vegan. And my daughter is dating a Muslim who doesn't eat pig. To top it off, I'm allergic to seafood. My husband's favourite dish is roast pork with crackling with an entree of prawns. If I serve what he likes, the others will be offended. Oh, get in line. Everyone's offended these days, aren't they? If I cater for everyone, I have to spend a fortune and make 3 versions of lunch. Can I just ask them all to bring a plate and give up? Rebecca from Peppermint Grove. Look, Rebecca, it's really unfortunate that your letter has been assigned to me because as a woman with European heritage, unfortunately, this concept of everyone just bringing their own meals to a lunch that you have been assigned to host, because it is in fact your turn, is like one of the greatest and most cardinal sins that you can commit. If you no longer want to host and you don't want to be a part of this circus, tap out now, love, because it's not for you. When you come to my home, and again, as Europeans, we do it all the time. When we go to someone else's house for lunch or for dinner, whatever the occasion is, we always bring something, but it is never at the host's request. It is almost embarrassing and almost very tut-tut and no, poo-poo type of thing to then ask the host, can I bring something? And then for the host to say, yes, actually bring this or bring that. That, again, is just mortifying. So when you come to my home, you are a guest and I will be putting out the spread for you. On the flip side of the coin, is it so infuriating that everyone now has an allergy or some type of food preference? I don't like this, I don't like that. Yes, it is, because I've seen on the flip side how that can work against you as a host who has tried to cater to people with gluten intolerances. They make a big song and dance about it, and then they come to your kid's party and then they don't even eat it. That is upsetting, and that is something that is very frustrating. But if you are the host, it is your dutiful responsibility to cater to people, never mind those who will be offended. Forget the Muslim guy that's going to get upset about seeing a pig. You're in a multicultural country, just deal with it. But you do have to cater to everyone's food preferences, I'm sorry to say.
I swear, if you are not watching the video version of Beauty of the Beast, you are missing out. Go and find it on YouTube, seriously. Gary, if you're coming to my house for Christmas Day, fair warning, it is roast pork. It is crackling.
Yeah.
You know, we'll do prawns and stuff like that, but I am a fussy eater. I'm a very plain eater. But I am cooking up a roast pork with crackling, come hell or high water.
Yeah, and Brisbane summers are hot and humid generally, and my late mother and my late grandmother, they kept alive the Scottish tradition of everything was hot and at lunchtime, and we'd be there with beads of perspiration down the face, but we would eat every last drip of whatever they prepared. There was none of this kind of rubbish of saying, what is this, what's that? You just ate. It was put in front of you, and you had to eat because it had been prepared lovingly by my mother, who insisted on doing this, frankly, up until a few months before she passed. And my grandmother, exactly the same before her.
Amazing.
Look, I think you use the seating arrangements, right? You just use the seating arrangements. You stick the vegan down that end, close to the front lawn, so they feel at home.
Well, they're easy to cater for, aren't they? You just throw a salad at them, surely.
No. I go to Brisbane's best vegetarian restaurant, which is the Norman Hotel. Worst vegetarian restaurant is the Norman Hotel that has the greatest steaks, right? So, you just simply tell them, everything that's meat has been a vegan to start with, but if they don't want to eat it, they don't have to touch it. And the other thing is, don't you use lamb? Lamb is the multicultural meat. What are you on about here? So, no, look, serve your pork, serve your crackling, but you put it at one end. If the guy doesn't like it, well, hey, it's great to see Muslims. I got a lot of Muslim friends, and they come and bring me Christmas cards and gifts every year, and I really am pleased about that. So, look, if they don't want to eat the pork, they don't eat the pork. But mind you, I've sat with Muslim friends who said, it's got bacon on it. He said, I can't see bacon, and just eats it. So it's just different. People are different. So, for heaven's sake, stop worrying about it. And I've actually sat at tables where people said, I don't like the smell of the prawns. I said, well, get up and move to the other end because the prawns are bloody staying. You don't have to.
Nothing says Christmas like tofu and a prawnless lunch, and God, that's just depressing. If you think about that, I couldn't even think worse. If you come to my house for Christmas, you eat what I'm preparing. If you don't like it, then you can go home afterwards and you can cook whatever that you would like to have, afterwards. But each person has their own traditional dishes that they like to cook, and I do agree with you too that it's very un-European. You always must rock up with something. You don't even need to ask, can I bring something? You just bring something on a Christmas day. But then on the other hand, it's not a Sunday barbecue. Christmas does take a lot of preparation for the person that's hosting it. And it is nice to send out a little kind of, could you bring this salad or could you bring the prawns, just to ease a little bit of the, the anxiousness.
Oh, I don't think Lucy's with you on that one, Tania.
No, Lucy wouldn't do that.
No. I'm on the fence with that one. I like it my way, but I still like if someone can bring something.
So I'm one of 8. That means multiply that by couples, partners, and 28 grandkids, I think we're at now. Hosting Christmas is freaking massive in our house. But hosting is an almost impossible feat on your own. So we actually put a WhatsApp chat around. We all delegate so no one doubles up, and it's the only way to do it. You've got to loosen up a bit, because otherwise you will send yourself insane. You will not enjoy it.
Crazy.
Hosting's hard enough. Cleaning up, getting all the plates out, making sure you've got enough glassware, making sure you've got the tinsel on the tree, making sure the house is clean. I'm all for just, darling, get everyone to bring a plate and make sure it's what they eat. Problem solved. It's easy. And then get a bottle of Prosecco and enjoy.
Have you checked out the Beauty and the Beast's website? Just go to beautyandthebeasts.au for panel profiles, clips, links. You can even send in your own letter for the panel. As I said, go to beautyandthebeasts.au. And speaking of letters, Tania, you've got our next one.
I do, thanks, Rob. Yes, okay. Dear Booties and Beasties, I have a dirty little secret. I have a foot fetish. I get so turned on by feet that I get the shakes and break out in a cold sweat every time I see a girl in a pair of peep-toe shoes, even thongs. Don't even ask what happens to me when it's summer and I can see all the girls' tantalizing toes in a pair of sandals. I have a new girlfriend. Oh, gosh, how? Who I met over a pedicure. And really? And I'm wondering, that itself's so weird that he goes to get pedicures. To pick up a girl, though. Hang on, he goes to get pedicures. We'll come back there. He gets to get pedicures and he has a foot fetish. He's wondering if it would be okay to ask her to wear some sexy sandals to bed, the new girlfriend. Advice, please. I'm getting Toey just thinking about it. Toey Ted from Thornley. Where do I start? I'm so glad this letter has actually come to me, because, well, he's not asking her to wear Crocs to bed. That would be very unattractive. It is open-toe shoes, and interestingly, that he thinks that a pumice stone and a bit of cuticle cream, and that's a turn-on for him in bed. Worst things could happen later. You get a foot massage. But when it comes to feet, every time I've noticed, and I was speaking to a girlfriend about this, that I put a picture of my feet on social media, whether I'm walking on the beach or put my feet up on the balcony at my place, it seems to get like 100,000 views of my feet, and I couldn't work out why. And then my girlfriend said to me, because of all the feet fetish people. It freaked me out. It just weirded me out. I didn't know that was a thing. Then we've gone a step further and said, maybe I should start an OnlyFans page just for feet. Nameless, faceless, has it been done? Is there that much of a foot fetish market out there, ladies?
There is.
Well, Libby, you gave us a look at your feet on the video cam, on the video feed. But what I'm confused about this, if you've got a foot fetish, why do you want her to wear sandals to bed?
I know.
They like how they look in certain shoes. I learned a new word the other day. Foot fetishes are real. They are a thing. I just pulled up one that I got in my DMs just this morning that basically says, I will pay to see your toes.
Your feet.
It's like every day I get actual so gorgeous. I want to suck on your toes. Come on.
Yeah, I get that all the time too. You know, it's not just you girls. It's all right. On that note, that brings us to the end of this edition of Beauty and the Beast. My thanks to Joe Casamento, Lucy Zelic, Libby Gorr, Gary Hardgrave and Tania Zaetta. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time on Beauty and the Beasts. Jeez.